Hello and happy Monday, boys and girls. We are back to learning about the American Revolution. This week, we will be reading articles about um, the Declaration of Independence, as well as American colonist leaders in the world in the war, British leaders in the war, and even some other important documents that have taken place. We may even read an article about some of the battles that took place as well. That there are going to be many ways to understand. Our goal in these lessons is to understand how people fought for their freedom. How not only did we're going to look at also how maybe slaves and Native Americans took part in this independence as well. Really, kind of just taking into account all the different steps and battles and really just everything that was discussions, meetings that helped to gain our independence from Britain. So let's look at this article now. You'll use this article to help you with answering the questions. And if you have any questions about answering the questions, there will be three multiple choice and three open ended for you to answer. All right. Okay. Declaration of Independence. The American colonies had been in conflict with British government since 1767 when the Townshend Acts were passed by the British Parliament. These laws not only added new taxes to the colonies, they also disbanded the New York legislature until it complied with orders to pay for food, supplies, and barracks for British soldiers. This was called a Quartering Act. The Townshend Acts increased tension between the colonists and the British government. These tensions erupted into the Boston Massacre in 1770, something that we have actually had the opportunity to read about already, and the Boston Tea Party in 1773, again, another thing that we read about. British Britain passed additional laws in 1774 that were called the Intolerable Acts that were designed to punish the colonies for the Boston Tea Party. So that right there is just kind of an overview of what was why the American colonies were thinking about declaring their independence and wanting to not be a part of British rule due to all this taxing and the different acts that required them to service British soldiers and British government. Let's keep reading. 12 of the colonies sent a total of 56 delegates or spokespeople to Philadelphia to review the situation with Great Britain in 1774. This group was called the First Continental Congress. A congress, boys and girls, is like a meeting or a group of people that meet. They called for a boycott of English goods and petitioned the king to address colonial grievances. The Second Continental Congress met May 1775, so that is about a year later, again in Philadelphia. By this time, the battles of Lexington and Concord had already taken place in Massachusetts, and the Revolutionary War had begun. This group of delegates organized the Continental Army in June 1775 to fight the war for independence. That is what this group did. The Second Continental Congress helped to create this Continental Army in June of 1775 to fight the war for independence. Right here now. The Second Continental Congress was the government for the colonists during the entire Revolutionary War. So just to give you guys an overview, there was two different continental congresses. The first group of people met to discuss how they could boycott English goods and help to petition the king to address any of their complaints that they had. Whereas the second one was about a year later, after the war had kind of already started. There was the Battle of Lexington and Concord, and they were there to help create an army, the Continental Army. And you guys might be wondering what continental means. Continental really just means across the land, because if you think about it, a continent has many states or parts of it, countries in it. So it was just an army that was developed throughout the entire American land, all of the colonies combined. This Congress had, I'm starting here, this Congress heard the first petition for independence from Britain read by Richard Henry Lee of Virginia on June 7th, 1776. Even though many delegates favored remaining as British colonies, let me read that again. That didn't really make sense when I said it out loud at first. This Congress heard the first petition for independence from Britain read by Richard Henry Lee of Virginia on June 7th, 1776, even though many delegates favored remaining as British colonies. The Congress recessed for 3 weeks. A committee of five was appointed to write a draft of a statement of independence from Britain during that time. The five men were John Adams of Massachusetts, Roger Sherman of Connecticut, Benjamin Franklin of Pennsylvania, Robert R. Livingston of New York, and Thomas Jefferson of Virginia. However, Thomas Jefferson was the primary writer of the document. So there now we have learned that this man Richard Henry Lee kind of gave an overview of the first petition, the first chance of independence, but then this committee of five were the people that really helped to write it, and the main person was Thomas Jefferson. All right. The Congress met again on July 1st and adopted the Lee resolution by a vote of 12 to 1. The Congress reviewed Jefferson's Declaration of Independence, making small changes. The Second Continental Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776. So, this might seem like we're jumping a little ahead, boys and girls. We haven't talked a lot about some of the things that were involved in the actual war, but I wanted to give you an overview of what the Declaration of Independence was so we can see how it began to grow and be written and discussed as we talk about these next couple of days. Over the next couple of days, we're going to look at the different parts of the war. So now you have an overview of the outcome of the war, which we all have learned is the Declaration of Independence on July 4th. But now we can see how it started to grow. We had the Continental Congresses, and it really provided us with a great deal of ideas to present to the British government in ways to we wanted to become independent. That's where it was going. Okay. If you have any questions, please let me know. Reread the article. It is attached as well as the video is going to be put into the article. So you're probably watching it right now. Hello, hello. But have a great day. And as always, I'm here to help. Thank you so much.